So today is 10 May 2025. I got a letter yesterday from MONTAGE, signed by, this has to do with the strike-through on the ABN to waiver a person's right. These two people, he's a VP of Chief of Human Resources, and this is Matthew Morgan, the VP, Chief Financial Officer, Vice President. And so they wrote this letter basically saying, and this is where they committed the fraud. They said that on their record showed on approximately 8 occasions I signed an ABN, and they said including the strike-through. I would have recognized the strike-through on any one of the ABNs, so I know that they tamper with documents. The reason why I know is because when I document on any date, if I get a copy of something, when I come home, I pull all the paperwork and I attach it to that day of what I did, like this. I have journals full of, receipts or bills I paid or whatever. I went through all my journals in the last year where I might have had a mammogram or I might have had a A1C, which is a blood work. And in every one of those files, someone went through there and pulled those copies or whatever I had attached to that particular day. So I date them and I journal them. Any paperwork that I get, like this one, will go into the date that I received it or I did something. So why would you know specifically that you had this here? Because you were working in collaboration with this biotech terrorist, Department of Defense, state-sponsored terrorism that happens off of Erdley Avenue, and you're probably covering up other targeting for money. And after they pulled all those documents, you felt safe enough to write this letter to me. The one thing that I've been wondering is the collaboration between MONTAGE Health in non-consensual human experimentation in conjunction with the Department of Defense at the Naval Innovation Center and Directed Energy Weapons. And I think I got my answer. Because if these guys were working with them, waiting for them to find any ABNs so they could go back into the documents and put strike-throughs on them and then pen a letter proclaiming that, that means that they knew they had my backup documents from inside my house. And this is to legally document that I accuse MONTAGE Health of working in collaboration with the domestic terrorist organization through the Naval Postgraduate Center in non-consensual human experimentations in directed energies and brain-computer interface. So like I said, I can go through any one of my things, and I always attach. So if I come home from a blood work or whatever, I'll automatically put it or attach it with that day, or I'll put it in a stack. Every single one of the stacks and every single one of the journals missing that ABN form. If I had a mammogram or whatever, yeah, I know about the ABN, but there was never a strike-through. The only reason why they penned that in writing was because they already had a group of people walk in here because they knew that my pattern as a warrantless surveillance, that I attached stuff, and they made sure that I always wonder sometimes when I go into the closet over here, why does everything look like it's moved around? Because they have a specific goal to go through things or steal things so that they can find the forms, like in this case, so that they can pen this portion right here. The only time I ever saw it, the strike-through, was on this document from April 7th. You see how I attach it like this? This is what I do. So I kept this one here because I'm still working on it. And there's where the strike-through is. There was never a document with the strike-through until April 7th. This is how I attach them on the day or whatever of a service. Every single one of my journals that I do that to, if I go back to the date that I have here for any scan or whatever, I guarantee that it's been removed from that portion, that dated portion of the journal. So I'm going to legally document this, that this portion here claiming that they have multiple forms with strike-throughs. No, they don't. That's that's fucking fraud right there. That's a lie. And these two men collaborated with this domestic terrorist organization who filters through my house and steals stuff. And then they penned this letter. Because I'm wondering, why now out of, you know, why now in May? Suddenly I'm getting a letter from these people. Because the fraud continues. But the big thing that I want to know is how involved is Montage in non-consensual human experimentation and covering the shit up. Now, we already know out of Soledad, based on the Don DeVore court case against the California Bureau of Prisons, that Soledad is one of the places where they were chipping the brains of prisoners. Now, what they said is they were getting around it because the private hospitals were facilitating these non-consensual brain chips in prisoners. So you got three local hospitals, and more than likely community hospital was involved because they like that money. I could almost guarantee Montage Health is involved with the non-consensual human experimentation that the military is deploying on citizens across the Monterey County and Monterey Peninsula. So I swear under penalty of perjury, this is an untrue statement. The only time I ever saw the strike through was on this document here, and you can see, like I did Jiffy Lube. And so I tape it or attach these type of things after I come out of my appointments. And guess what? In every single one of my journals, dating back a year, not a single one of these documents is in there. Funny, huh? So I'll take my documentation over this fucking lie, and I'll challenge them in a court of law.